Y'all, I just wanted to let you know that we're going to start a few minutes late because there's evidently been some major traffic issues. So I just appreciate your patience. So we will probably start in about 10 minutes.
I can do for you is I can send you my speech for tomorrow.
Okay.
If you want to.
Okay.
And put it in there. I didn't change it that much.
I wonder if they have. Do you need? Yes. You have that, Joy. I'll put this underneath. So we don't need that. You know what? And I'm going to... No, you're good. I'm just thinking 16.
Okay, everybody's quiet. We will get started. All right, good evening, everyone. This is like in church when the preacher talks. He says good evening, and you kind of speak back to him. Just kidding. But I'm not going to preach to you, I promise, okay? Any rate, I'd like to welcome you all to the Lexington One Educational Foundation 2022 Celebration of Excellence in Education. My name's Chris Rice. I'm honored to serve as the chair of the Educational Foundation Board of Directors. So our foundation is actually governed by a committed board of volunteer parents, business and community leaders, and trustees who want Lexington One to be the best school district that they can be. So every year, this event is one of the highlights of our Educational Foundation efforts, since it commends the academic achievements of our Lexington District One seniors. We're especially glad to be able to hold this year's celebrations in a new split-night format, and these precautions were determined earlier this school year merely to be sure we had necessary safeguards in place in the event that coronavirus numbers were high. Our foundation leadership always wants to embrace the celebrations as the event recognizing each of you students who earned a place in the top 10% of your senior class. Congratulations to each of you for this academic honor, and I mean that, okay? Now, before we move forward, I'd like to introduce our guests that we have on stage. We have with us this evening, it's not in any particular order, but Dr. Greg Little, Superintendent of Lexington County District 1. We have Dr. Ryan Poole, Principal of Lexington High School. We have Mr. Scott Gould. Did I pronounce that correctly? Gould? Gould. I want to make sure I said it properly. He's an author and a writer and the speaker for tonight's program. And we have Ms. Julie Washburn, who is our Executive Director of the Lexington One Educational Foundation. So on behalf of the Educational Foundation Board and staff, I would like to thank Dr. Poole and everyone at Lexington High School for working with the foundation leadership this year to make this event a reality. Lexington is our host high school for the 2022 celebrations. So thank you for allowing us to be here both nights to honor the top seniors in Lexington School District 1. A sincerest thanks also to the many Lexington High School staff who were involved in event planning and the celebration leaders at Gilbert High, Pelion High, River Bluff High, and White Knoll High, as well as to Lexington District One leadership, who were important in helping to make our 2022 celebrations run smoothly. Such an event takes a team effort to make it a success, so we appreciate everyone's involvement. Now, the Educational Foundation, let me just take a minute to tell you what we do. Educational Foundation has a mission to raise and manage funds to positively make a difference in Lexington School District One by supporting amazing educational opportunities and enriching the quality of life in our community by investing in students, teachers, staff, and educational programs. We are only able to do so through the generosity of our terrific partnerships with local individuals, businesses, and friends. I am proud to say that we have invested over $200,000 in Lexington District 1 in the last fiscal year. This was done through a variety of other outstanding ways, including our Helping Hands grants to each school, innovation grants, Bucks for Books grants, senior scholarships, dorm room grants, the Caring Heart Fund, robotics grants, LTC pharmacology course funding, Golden Apple teacher grants, and many more support items too numerous to name. So thank you again for coming tonight and supporting the achievement of these outstanding seniors that we will be recognizing shortly. And now I will pass the program over to our Executive Director of the Educational Foundation, Ms. Julie Washburn, so that she can share with you the names of our many generous celebration sponsors. Thank you.
I do want to say congratulations to each of you seniors. I know you worked hard for this achievement, and it's a really big deal, so be proud of yourselves for all the work that's paid off. Before I want to recognize our generous donors, I do want to actually share with the seniors, if you haven't already opened your gift bags, one of the things made possible by our kind donors are the gift bags to the seniors this year. So I have one underneath here for those parents and others. Inside, each of you will receive a water bottle, and it has the little clip on it, which is cool. You can attach it to a book bag or anything next year, as y'all are, yeah, that'd be great. You also have inside a celebration pin that has the initial of your high school on it. We have a small portfolio inside with a pen and a notepad, and probably the one thing the kids are going to be most excited about is the Chick-fil-A gift card that Chick-fil-A Lexington gave us. So just know it's in there for y'all to use. And then we also have inside from Lexington Medical Center, they gave us some either screen cleaners or glasses cleaners, whichever you prefer to use it for. And then Mid-Carolina Electric Cooperative gave us some cinch bags. So it's kind of a cool thing, you know, made possible by the sponsors. So we appreciate the generosity in regards to making that happen this year. Thanks, Chris. But in addition, we will recognize each of you in the March edition of the Lexington Life magazine, so be sure and keep an eye out for those magazines to be released in the next few weeks. And we're also going to share celebration photos on our social media pages on Facebook. So if you don't follow the foundation, please do. It's just LEX1 EDFOUND. So we will share those probably on Friday. So we may have some shots of you kids or parents or sponsors. But now on to recognizing our kind sponsors. Please know that anytime we have a function, they are made possible because of our donors who contribute to make these a reality for us. And I'm going to go through, I know we have some sponsors with us tonight. If y'all wouldn't mind standing as I recognize your name or your company name, and then we'll just hold the applause until the end of maybe each level sponsorship. So thanks for your patience in showing appreciation to those who made it possible. Our diamond level sponsors are Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, Duff Freeman Lyon Attorneys at Law, First Community Bank, Halligan Mahoney and Williams Attorneys at Law, Lexington Medical Center, and Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. So let's thank these diamond level sponsors. Our platinum sponsors for the event are Chick-fil-A Lexington, Jumper Carter Cease Architects, Mid-Carolina Electric Cooperative, Mid-State Tire Distributors, Rhodes Graduation Services, the CIFA Group, Southeastern Freight Lines, and the Town of Lexington. So let's thank these platinum sponsors. Our gold level sponsors are Clayton Raw Farms, Gilbert High School, Gilbert Ruritan Club, Harling and West Attorneys, H.G. Reynolds Company, Imagine Learning, Lexington High School, Lexington Technology Center, MB Con Construction, Pelion High School, River Bluff High School, Shumpert's IGA, the Town of Gilbert, the Town of Summit, Dr. Thomas Trinkner, and Whitenoll High School. So let's give these sponsors a hand. And finally, our silver level sponsors are Chow & Associates, Davis & Frawley, Nancy K. Harmon, Lexington Sertoma Club, Doris R. Reynolds, Hugh Rogers, attorney at law, Senator Katrina Fry Sheely, the Tidwell Insurance Agency, Town of Pelion, and Woodward, Cothran, and Herndon, attorneys at law. We are also fortunate to have 2 college sponsors. You'll notice they have ads in our program tonight, Coastal Carolina University and Columbia International University. But again, thank you to all of our sponsors. If we'll give one more round of applause to all of them. As mentioned, we could not do it without their generosity making such events possible. So please know how much we appreciate your kindness and support of our Lexington One seniors, the top seniors in all 5 of our high school classes. And now I have the honor of introducing Dr. Little to you, our superintendent of Lexington District One. Dr. Little's enthusiasm for education is admirable. He holds a Bachelor of Arts from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, as well as a master's and a doctorate from UNC Chapel Hill. Although his North Carolina ties are strong, he's fully acclimated to life in South Carolina since he served as our superintendent for almost 6 years. But I do have to say he still refers to Carolina as North Carolina. But Dr. Little has done an outstanding job leading Lexington District 1 during a very challenging time in recent years. He's committed to all students being successful in their futures, no matter their chosen path. The focus is a top priority in Lexington 1, and all of you seniors are a wonderful example of success. During his tenure, the district has increased mental health and wellness support for our students and our staff, increased technology innovation in STEM programs, and developed strong dual enrollment partnerships with local higher education systems. And under his guidance, Lexington District 1 continues to create and strengthen academic opportunities so that our students are able to create their own pathways to success and ultimately design their own futures. So as our fearless leader and visionary in Lexington District 1, I'm happy to introduce to you Dr. Greg Little.
It is a total coincidence I'm wearing a Carolina blue tie and the Tar Heels have senior night tonight. That is complete coincidence. It is so great to be here. I would like to once again thank our sponsors for making tonight possible. This celebration is actually one of the largest that we have in the district each year, and though we've had to change up the format over the last couple years, I'm glad to see more smiling faces, and it's wonderful to be back in person this year to have this celebration. And so I'm so grateful to be able to see you face to face, and parents, I'm glad that you're here as well. This week's celebration would not be possible again without the financial support of our event sponsors, so we truly appreciate your support of the foundation and Lexington District 1 as a whole. I would also like to recognize a number of other special people who are here tonight, And so if you would please just stand and remain standing while we give you a round of applause. I think we have some elected officials here tonight. Mayor John Reeder, are you here tonight? If you're here, stand up. Thank you, sir. Town of Pelion, Mayor Frank Schumpert. Town of Summit, Mayor David Reese. And then we have a number of our Board of Trustees here. I think they're sitting back there. If you want to stand up, please. I know we have our chairperson, Anne Marie Green, as well as Kathy Henson here tonight. I don't believe that anybody else is here, but thank you. Our educational our Educational Foundation Board of Directors, a number of them are welcoming you into the event tonight. If you would please stand up as well. And I think we need to stand and stay standing, if you don't mind. We're going to do a big kind of a round of applause here in just a minute, so I can embarrass you for a couple more minutes. Our Lexington District One senior staff, they're here tonight. Our foundation ambassadors and our foundation staff, if you would also please stand. High school principals, our directors, APs, school counselors, career specialists, teachers, and support staff, if you're here tonight, please stand. All of our celebration committee volunteers, without your effort, this wouldn't have happened, so if you would please stand as well. And I just want to say thank you again for being here for this special night. And let's give all these people a round of applause, please. Yeah. And I would also like to ask all of our parents to stand up, please. Your energy and effort in supporting your young people does not go unnoticed. Success in life is rarely achieved by accidents or by individual effort. Your support is absolutely critical. Students, if you would please give your parents a round of applause, please. We are also delighted to have each of these students as our top academic graduates of our 5 Lexington District High Schools. I'm always fascinated by how we celebrate and think about excellence. One of our greatest football coaches, Vince Lombardi, says, when he was talking about excellence to his team, he described it like this. He said, "We will chase perfection, and we will chase it relentlessly, knowing all the while that we can never attain it. But along the way, we shall catch excellence." Excellence is not a one-time accomplishment, but rather it is practiced over time. As you think about your future, whatever that may look like, know that you can achieve excellence as you have done today because of your effort, because of your commitment, and because of your dedication. Chase what is possible, and you will find the extraordinary. I look forward to seeing you again in just a couple of short months at graduation while we hand you your diploma. So good luck and have a great rest of your year. Now I'd like to pass the podium to Lexington High School's principal, Dr. Ryan Poole.
Good evening. We at Lexington High School are very glad to serve as the host school of the Educational Foundation's 2022 Celebration of Excellence in Education. Honoring the top seniors not only at Lexington High School, but at all 5 of our high schools is truly a privilege. My Wildcat team members and I are happy to be a significant part of this year's events. Now for this year's celebration, I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker, Scott Gould, who is an accomplished writer and author, as well as a creative nonfiction instructor for the South Carolina Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities. Mr. Gould is a native South Carolinian and a graduate of Lexington High School. He is well known for his skills as a Southern storyteller. After graduating from Lexington High School, he attended Wofford College, where he earned a Bachelor's of Arts in English, and his love of writing began. He then went on to study poetry under James Dickey at the University of South Carolina and earned a Master's of Arts as well as a Master of Fine Arts in Writing from Warren Wilson College. His first book, Strangers to Temptation, is a linked story collection the Atlanta Journal-Constitution called a compulsive read, and forward reviews dubbed funny, often poignant, and not easily forgotten. This book, among others, is for sale in the lobby, and he's happy to sign any books purchased after our program this evening. Mr. Gould's memoir, Things That Crash, Things That Fly, was named a finalist in the 2021 Indies Today Awards and one of 2021's best by the Independent Book Review. He's already written another novel, The Hammerhead Chronicles, and it will be published by the University of North Georgia Press in 2022, as well as a second collection of stories, Idiot Men, that is scheduled for publication in 2023. Mr. Gould's fiction and nonfiction have appeared in countless reviews, such as the Kenyon Review, and he has received high praises. He's a two-time winner of the South Carolina Arts Commission's Individual Artist Fellowship in Prose and the South Carolina Academy of Authors Fiction Fellowship. We are pleased to have a fellow Wildcat, Scott Gould, join us as a keynote speaker for the Educational Foundation's 2022 celebrations.
Hey, everybody. Nah, that's pretty weak. But I'm not going to preach either. Well, actually, I am going to preach a little bit. Listen, it's so nice to be here. It's nice to be back in Lexington. I was told not to touch this one, but just a little bit. I truly appreciate the invitation and the chance to talk to you. And congratulations to all you students who are being honored tonight. It's wonderful that you're being recognized for all that hard work that you put in over the years. Now, normally when I do these sorts of things, I usually read from my own work, which is for sale in the lobby, by the way. But that didn't seem to fit the vibe for tonight. So instead, I'm going to start by talking about my dog. His name is Frazier. And to be perfectly honest with you, Frazier is sort of an idiot. He's black and tan and long-legged, and he's a mutt and a rescue. And according to one of those DNA things I spent way too much money on, he has a lot of boxer in him. So I named him after the former heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Joe Frazier. See what I did there? Boxer, dog, boxer thing. Yeah. You're probably too young to know who Joe Frazier is, right? You know, ask your parents or your grandparents, maybe. Anyway, Frazier the dog, he's whiny and he's anxious and he lives in fear of most of the world, and he's afraid that any second a bloodthirsty cat will attack him from behind or a squirrel will ambush him from overhead. But I love him to death. And every morning, without fail, he wakes me up a couple minutes after the first light seeps through the window shades, and we walk around the neighborhood for a couple of minutes. Lately, well, actually, since the morning after Julie invited me to come, I've been thinking about all of you while I walk Frazier the dog. That fact might spur you to say, Scott, you need to get a life. But nevertheless, you've been on my mind. Every morning when we cross Old Buncombe Road and head up Clarendon Avenue, while Psycho Frazier keeps his eyes peeled for ninja squirrels and rabid cats, I've been wondering what I was going to say tonight. And this confession here that my walks with Frazier are when I do some of my best writing. Writers, at least the ones I know, the good ones, tend to spend a lot more time thinking than writing. And thinking is the most important part of a writer's job, that whole, figuring out which direction you're going to go before you put a word down on paper thing. Anyway, for the first few days, I was completely convinced that Julie and the foundation and the good folks at the foundation had made a huge mistake in asking me to come here. I'm the perfectly wrong person for this job. There's nothing of value an old semi-bald, gimpy-kneed Lexington High School alumnus can tell you. But you have to understand, this is always my go-to response when I'm asked to do these things. I'm instantly smothered in self-doubt and fear, so this anxiety was nothing new to me. And Frazier and I made quite the pair as we walked down the street, me dripping with self-doubt and him keeping his head on a swivel, wary of attacks from behind the hedges. I mean, let's be real, you don't know squat about me. And I don't know any of you. I'm sure you're fine, obviously intelligent young people. You know I've got a dog. That's about the extent of our mutual association. But I asked myself as I plodded up the street, what is the important thing, the little lesson, the homily that you absolutely positively should hear? What is something that I could give to you that you could take anywhere you went, that you could always rely on, no matter your age, no matter if you were 18 or 25 or 75? And that's not my age, by the way. Then one morning while I walked along in my little cloud of self-doubt, accompanied by my neurotic dog, I glanced down in a ditch just off the shoulder of the street. It had rained hard a couple of days before, so after a day or two of drier weather, the water had drained from the ditch, leaving nothing but a big puddle of thick, soupy mud. And right there in the middle of the puddle was a kid's toy. It was a red pickup truck, maybe 18 inches long. The mud halfway up the pickup's oversized toy tires. And I stood there staring at the toy truck hunkered down in the mud, and I immediately wondered who owned it. Was it a boy or a girl? Had they snuck out to play in the rain? What was so important that they ran off and left their truck bogged down, wheels deep in the mud? Did they have blonde hair, brown hair? If the truck was covered in mud, were they a mess too? Did they get in trouble with mom or dad? I imagine that kid, the one who owned the toy truck 15, 20 years in the future, this time with a real truck with giant tires, roaring through some giant ditch, slinging mud everywhere. And that was the precise moment I knew one thing I absolutely positively had to tell you. I needed to tell you about my disease. You see, I suffer from extreme curiosity syndrome. Don't Google it. You won't find it anywhere because I just made it up. I don't know when I contracted this disease. It might have been back when I was a little kid in Kingstree, South Carolina, and I decided I wanted to find out where this creek led. And a couple of miles later, I was lost as a damn Easter egg somewhere in the middle of a swamp. Maybe it was when I started buying albums back in middle school and read all the liner notes just to see who played bass on a James Taylor tune or tambourine on that Creedence song. Some people remember that band. Maybe it was when I moved to Lexington for high school and I take a John boat out when they pulled the waterway down on Lake Murray, and when the sun was just right on the water so I could see if I could spot towns buried under the surface. I have no idea when I caught extreme curiosity syndrome, but there's no cure, thankfully. For the last 18 years, I've been trying to infect every one of my creative writing students at the Governor's School for the Arts with that disease. Simply, you cannot be a writer without curiosity. It just doesn't happen. One of our mantras in my creative writing class is stay curious. Heck, one year I had T-shirts made for the students with that printed right across the front. As I sat there staring down at that truck, I realized that's the first thing I should tell you. Always, always be a curious person. Why? Because curious people are the ones who change the world, who make the world better, make it more interesting, more livable. Without curiosity, the world does not advance. There's no art, there's no technology, there's no entertainment, there are no sports, there's no exploration. Without curiosity, there are no friendships, no conversation, no society. Everything that makes your life interesting or comfortable or desirable or challenging is the result of human curiosity. And this is not an original idea with me, you know that. Thomas Hobbes, he's a 17th century philosopher, said, and I love this phrase, he said, curiosity is the lust of the mind. And Ken Robinson, who's a major international advisor on modern education, and all the teachers and educators in the audience will know who Ken Robinson is. Well, he said curiosity is the engine of achievement. So I tell my students, my 17 and 18-year-old jaded, trying to figure out life teenagers, that as writers, it is their duty to be curious about the world around them, which means one simple thing: you got to get out in it. They have to be observers. They should constantly be asking if and why, or what if and why not. When parents come up to me at the Governor's School and they ask, hey, what summer camp should I send my kid to? I tell them McDonald's, Burger King, or a landscaping company, or behind the counter at Cinnabon. Anything that gets them out in the world, because what writers need most are opportunities to be curious. And you can't get that locked away in a room. Tonight, I want to tell you to do the same thing. Right now, as high school students, you're curious because you have to be. You don't have a choice. We call it forced curiosity. You're being graded on your performance. You learn things because you don't really have a choice. Okay, I guess you do have a choice. You could choose not to be curious and learn, and I'm sure you know some people who have made that particular poor decision, but you obviously haven't, and that's why you're here tonight, and kudos to you for that. But here's the kicker. What happens when you are suddenly on your own, maybe after college, when no one is standing over you, guiding you to be a curious human? What happens when you don't have deadlines and exams? Can you be curious when curiosity is left totally up to you? As a creative writing instructor, the difficult thing to stomach is that I can't teach my students how to be curious. There's no secret formula or rule book or, God, I hate this word, rubric for learning how to be curious. All I can do is tell you how important curiosity is. You must train yourself to exercise it, and it takes self-discipline and focus and a thirst to answer the questions what if and why. Also, as we know, the world conspires against you in many ways. There are forces that exist to take the edge off your curiosity, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, TikTok videos of a guy skateboarding off a cliff wearing Bernie Sanders mittens ain't exactly fertilizer for your curiosity. But I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not trying to be the old guy screaming, "Get off my lawn." The rabbit holes you can scurry down on your phone can feed your curiosity. They feed mine all the time. I mean, there's no reason that your phone and your computer can't be a part of the extreme curiosity syndrome. But at some point, to be a curious human, you have to get out in the world. You have to participate in it. You have to examine it. And that's a difficult thing to do tucked away in your bedroom, staring into a little screen. So anyway, back to the mud puddle. That morning, there on the side of the road, I asked Frazier, I told him to sit down. I took a picture of the toy truck in the mud, and I have it on my phone if you'd like to take a look. Then we headed home, probably walking a little faster and a little happier because I had figured out what to say. Now here's the next part of the story. I'm a writer. You knew there would be a next chapter, right? We walked back to my house, and I did what I usually do after our walks. I gave Frazier some water, and I checked to make sure my cat was not preparing to ambush him. Between you and me, I think the cat's probably a lot of reason for his problems. But I turned on the computer to check my email, and there in the inbox, almost glowing at me, were 2 rejections. One from a literary magazine, turning down a new story I'd written that I think it's a pretty good story. And the other from an agent telling me she wasn't interested in reading the novel that I'd spent 5 years working on. 2 rejections in one morning. And you know what? I think that was an omen. I think that was a signal that the second thing I needed to tell you, about the second thing I needed to tell you. I hadn't planned on a second thing, but it was like the gods of speech writing laid those 2 rejections right in front of me. Suddenly there was something to be shared with you, begging to be shared. And here it is, second thing. Never be afraid of failure. For many people, specifically some writers I know, that pair of rejections looming in my email would be big, shiny badges of failure. And I have writer friends who don't send their work out because they're afraid of rejection, scared of failure. And frankly, it doesn't bother me. Because a long time ago, an artist friend I trusted told me this, said, fear of failure is just a lame-ass excuse to do nothing. And he told me this when I was almost 30 years old, and I wish I'd heard it when I was your age. Luckily, you have me. Do not be afraid of failure. Consider what the famous Irish novelist and playwright Samuel Beckett said. This is a quote, "Ever tried, ever failed. No matter, try again, fail better." Think about that, fail better. If you take that attitude, failure is simply a means to kind of point you in the right direction towards success. And I'm not telling you to embrace failure and welcome it, and I'm not saying you have to enjoy it. I don't. I never have. What I'm saying is, to attempt something and fail can be a catalyst to try again and again and again until ultimately you find a path to some success. It's going to be hard for some of you. Trust me, I've seen it in action. You folks are used to doing things the right way the first time, most of the time, right? You get good grades, you get A's, but what happens if you don't? How will you react? How will you move forward? Years ago, I had this student in a creative writing class at the governor's school, and one afternoon, once we'd finished class, everybody walked outside just like every other day, wandering in the hall, checking their phones. And a few seconds later, I heard this horrible, horrible scream, like somebody had broken a bone or donated an organ or something. It was full of just anguish, and I didn't know what had happened. So I ran to the door of the classroom, and just outside near the stairwell, this student was writhing on the floor, literally pulling her hair out. And I'd heard that expression before. I'd never seen it in action. I mean, she was just pulling her hair out. So I had to calm her down and send somebody for help. And when she stopped sobbing and wailing enough to take a breath, I asked her what was wrong. And she held up her phone, and through the tears and the spit and the handfuls of hair, she said, "I made a B." Then she calmed down enough to tell me she'd never made a B in her life. And her life was over. And her parents were going to disown her. And her educational future had been ruined. And I tried to explain that a B and A push is not all that bad. It's only the first quarter. You got 3 other quarters to go, And in her mind, she had failed, and she couldn't, quite obviously, handle failure. And we have a lot of students like that at the governor's school. When they sit in my creative writing workshops, and they don't know how to handle it when I tell them, the first 5 pages of your story, throw those away, take 2 sentences off of page 6 and start over. They don't like that. But I try to teach them to redefine failure. Failure doesn't mean you necessarily did something wrong. It simply means you have to explore a better way of doing whatever it is you're doing. You have to, as Beckett said, fail better. That student who was pulling her hair out, she learned to redefine failure, and her life wasn't over that day at the top of the stairs, and it continued right on into her acceptance at Princeton. And you know what? If she had not been accepted to Princeton, she would have been okay, because she learned how to fail better. So what about you? How are you going to act that inevitable day when something doesn't go your way? Something that you totally expected to go your way. What are you going to do when you get your metaphorical rejections in the inbox? Will failure energize you or paralyze you? Will it motivate you or shut you down? Will failure inspire you or depress you? Because you got a choice, Think of all the people in history who epitomized curiosity. Einstein, Curie, Edison, Jobs, Goodall, and on and on and on. We could sit here and name them all night. You know what they have in common in addition to extreme curiosity syndrome? They failed a lot. They figured the equation incorrectly, or did the chemistry wrong, or concocted the wrong hypothesis, but they followed Beckett's advice. They failed better until they didn't. So who knew? I go out one morning walking my crazy dog, and I see a toy pickup stuck in the mud, and I get a couple rejections, and boom. Next thing you know, I've discovered what I want to tell you. The only thing left now is to ask you for a favor. When you leave here, think about what I said. Think about how you can stay curious. How can you maintain an excitement about the world you live in, the world you live in, not just the world that exists inside a phone? And how are you going to use any failure you encounter as a tool to lead you to a successful place? How are you going to react to difficulty? Just think about it. Think about it. Stay curious. Don't fear failure. It'll make you a more interesting person. And trust me, the world can use all the interesting people it can get. One last thing. I walk Fraser every morning. We leave out of Adele Street about 6:45. Anytime you want to join me and my idiot dog, we'd welcome the company. We can be curious for a couple of miles. Maybe we'll even find out who left their truck stuck in the mud. Thank you, Congratulations again on the honor tonight. You should be proud of yourselves.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gould, for that speech and inspiring us to not be afraid to fail. We thank you for presenting this message tonight, and we greatly appreciate you taking your time, not just tonight, but you'll be with us again tomorrow night. So thank you for taking 2 evenings to be with us for these celebration events. So now we'll begin the ceremonial part of the program, in which we will recognize each of our honored seniors. So as chair of the Lexington One Educational Foundation, I have the privilege of inducting all of you honored Lexington One seniors into the Old English Society. The celebration is truly an important and cherished Lexington One event that honors students' academic successes. Membership into the Old English Society is solely determined by a student's cumulative academic achievements throughout his or her high school years. Membership says for all to see and hear that the recipient has been determined, focused, and successful in achieving the top academic results during the high school career. As tangible evidence of this honor and deserved recognition, each of you will receive a certificate, and you already have an Old English Society lapel pin with the society's name and your high school's letter in the center in your gift bag. On behalf of everyone with the Lexington One Educational Foundation, I applaud you for your commitment to excellence, and I know it will take you to even greater places in the future. So now, if all of our honored seniors would please stand and repeat after me the following pledge that's going to be shown on the screens in front of you. I pledge myself to maintain a commitment to learning, to always cultivate scholarly habits, to expand knowledge while providing leadership, and to encourage high standards of scholarship, service, and character. Congratulations to each of you seniors for earning membership into the Old English Society. You may be seated, and let's folks please give them a hand. Now at this time, I'd like to pass the microphone back over to Dr. Poole.
Seniors, before we begin with recognition of each of you who is being honored tonight, I'd like to share some brief directions as we move into this portion of our celebration. Please leave your name at your seat, and you will proceed to the right of the stage, your right, my left, following your peers by row, as you should already be seated with your classmates in alphabetical order. As your principal calls your name, you'll pick up your celebration certificate from Ms. Washburn, and then enter and walk across the stage to be recognized and congratulated by the Lexington One Educational Foundation Chair, Mr. Chris Rice, and Lexington District One Superintendent, Dr. Greg Little, and smile for your parents. Afterwards, please exit the stage to my right, and then proceed back in front of the stage to your seat. Now let's begin the celebration recognitions with Principal Jacob Nelson joining us on stage to honor the students at Gilbert High School.
All right. So I am just so incredibly proud to be your principal. And I was thinking as I was sitting there just how much you've overcome over these last couple of years. And I like to say that excellence is a choice. And you have made a consistent choice through all of the changes and the plexiglass and the masks and the quarantines and the hybrids and all the many things, right? There were so many times where you could have said, you know what, it's just not worth it. but instead you made a choice. You made a choice to be great. You made a choice to do your best. And you made a choice to represent your school, your family, your community as effective learners, ethical people, and contributors to a better world. So I'm just so proud of each of you and look forward to honoring you tonight. All right. So first up, we have Luz Aurora Batanzos Camacho, Natalia Marie Bolanos, Morgan Riley Brady, Harrison Sheffield Branham, Alexandria Elizabeth Burnett, Colin Ryan Kochcroft, Zoe Elizabeth Cook, Matthew Peyton Davis, Carissa Lee Fox, Kennedy Taylor Gooding, Caitlin Nicole Henderson, Tamara Ariana Irving, Delaney Juliet Johnson, Abigail Elaine Candair, Grayson Early Leapart, Austin Blaze Lilly, Dylan J. Massey, Emma Caitlin Miller, Leah Carolyn Myrick, Ainsley Elizabeth Plunkett, Lakin McKenna Swinford, Barbara Hope Temple, Austin Grant Waters, Emily Claire Watts, Alex William Young, Sydney Lorene Young, and Zane Maddox Young. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Gilbert. Hi. My guys, you can start making your way up to your right. As Mr. Nelson said, we are incredibly proud of you guys, and you make our school an amazing place every day. So congratulations on tonight's honors. Emma Baxley, Isabella Bernagassi, Chesley Blake, Tanner Bachnight, Aruna Chalam Chidambaram, Sarah Chug, Adam Clements, Boyd Coates, Meredith Cook, Andrew Cerny, Zaria Daniels, Kyla Davis, Emily Goff, Ainsley Harmon, Chase Harmon, Owen Harris, Margaret Head, Colin Helms, Sarah Holhouse, Grant Hyman, Lakika Cassidy, Bella Kellis, Logan Kitts, Sailor Kuhn, Emily Corman, Laura Lake, Adeline Lamb, Louisa Lemos, Hannah Lewis, Caitlin McCormick, Macy McCutcheon, Will McFarland, Luna Medina Moreno, Hallie Michael, Mallory Murphy, Kyle Perry, Amanda Phillips, Alex Pia, Michael Plummer, Isabella Raw, Julia Raw, Mariah Robinson, Perry Rouillard, Alexis Sexton, Scott Sluter, Blake Smith, Brian Stone, Ariel Sylvain, Kellen Watkins, Jordan White, Kenzie Williams, Kathleen Wyverson, Keaton Yoder. Congratulations.
Good evening. My name is Brian Hearn, principal at Pelion High School, and every morning I make an announcement and I close the announcements with students, no matter where you are or what you're doing, always show your Pelion pride. And these 15 students certainly do that and reflect the best of Pelion High School. So without further ado, Adriana Kate Adair. Drake Thomas Ariel. Allison Renee Barnhill. Sarah Kate Cribb. Sarah Kate Cribb. Jacob Earl Dennis. Ashley Elizabeth Downs. Jamie Madison Frederici. Evelyn Yamalith Garcia Campos. Catherine Elizabeth Henry. Noah Daniel Holland. Mara Claire Miller. Jacob Alexander Osmansky. Chelsea Jalea Sanders. Alana Lanai Walker. And Hayden Matthew Walters. Congratulations, Panthers.
Congratulations to all the students. As we close out this very special celebration of excellence in education, we extend many thanks again to all of our celebration sponsors for your investment in our Lexington District One seniors. Your generous support made this evening a truly special one for the honored students, parents, and our other guests. Thanks to all of our honored seniors and all of our parents, sponsors, and Lexington District One leaders who joined us this evening. For those who could not make it, please know that the celebration live streaming links will remain in the Lexington One YouTube page, and the Educational Foundation staff will also share the links on their social media pages. Reminder that Scott Gould will be in the lobby to sign any books purchased this evening. Also, as you exit the auditorium, please notice that the Educational Foundation has a simple dessert reception prepared. Thanks for taking only one cookie and water per person so that we all have enough to enjoy on our way home this evening. We're so very glad that you were able to celebrate our top seniors in the class of 22 for this outstanding academic achievement. Congratulations again to each of you honored seniors. We wish each of you the very best as soon as you move on to your future. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.